All right, so this movie takes place in 1969 in Pennsylvania, in Mill Valley, Pennsylvania, where we see a group of high school kids. We technically start off following three, what eventually becomes four, and it's Halloween. They're all dressing up. They're doing high school stuff, pranks, and costumes, hanging out with their friends and so forth. They get into a little they get into the high school things, getting chasing girls, being chased by bullies, and so forth. So the movie really progresses from just this Halloween stuff to driving movie theaters to actually doing what most teenagers do. Let's find something else we can explore, where they eventually end up in a haunted house. And in this haunted house, there's a story. There's an urban legend with this haunted house that is very important to the small town. And this haunted house is synonymous with a little girl named Sarah Bellows. And Sarah Bellows was she was really labeled by her family as troubled and labeled with having a personality disorder, and that her family pretty much exiled her. They exiled her from the family existence. I mean, pictures, everything. They completely exiled her, and they locked her up in a basement. And this was traumatizing to a little girl, where her family disowned her. She was tortured. She was, called crazy and so forth. And while the time that this little girl spent in the basement, she would tell stories to the other kids, and these stories ended up becoming myths and legends, and it gave a really negative tone to not only just her but the family and everything that's synonymous with the family. And so the kids, they decide, like, hey, we're gonna go check out this haunted house, and we're gonna see how true is this story really is. So they did some investigating, as kids usually do, and they uncover some really interesting things. So we follow Stella, Ramon, Aggie, and Chuck as they pretty much do some. They do some scaling of the house, and they're pranking each other and stuff still, until they actually uncover a secret room, which the secret room ends up being Sarah Bellows' room. And within Sarah Bellows' room, we end up finding a secret book. The book where all of the stories that she used to tell all the kids back in the day are written. And so they, as kids, they spook each other enough, and they see things, and eventually they leave, taking the book back home, which we all know in scary movies is a big no-no. It's always some ramifications with that, and so this movie does exactly that. So the way how this book works is, this book every night, now that they've taken it out of the house, would write. Now you see it writing at the same time, but it would write and tell a story, and the story would affect, it would come to life and affect the person that the story is being told about. So we see weird things happening with her friends and foes and so forth. And people are going missing in the town because of what's happening in the book. And it's really crazy, and it really takes the story, and it takes these kids on an adventure to not only find the true story behind Sarah Bellows, but also to protect their friends, because at this point now, each and every night, someone is being targeted by the stories, and it could ultimately end up being the compromise of that person's fate. So about the story and all, let's talk a little bit about the movie itself. Like, I thought for a horror movie, I thought the movie was okay. It was really slow paced, and because the story, having source material, wants to make sure they was able to introduce the characters, which they did slowly. Kind of keep the psychology of high school kids, which I thought they did pretty good as far as the mistakes and their interactions within each other. Even their dialogue, which was like kind of wonky, but you think back, like, they're high school kids, so it kind of works. I thought the sound mixing was really good, which I think is important when it comes down to horror films. That does the sound carry and make an impact when the story being told, as well as the score complementing everything, really good. I thought the costume design was really good, especially with some of the monsters that you see introduced in this film. I thought was really good. And of course, everybody want to know, is the story scary? I would say I was alarmed a few times to kind of keep my G card right now, but nonetheless, I thought it did have a lot of good elements of surprise. I thought the character design, not costume, but character design, as being correct towards the book, was really good. I thought that the characters really did look and resonate to what the book did back in the day. However, I didn't technically feel the connection to the characters as when I was younger as I did with seeing them on the screen. But as far as the acting with everybody, I thought it was pretty good. Dean Norris is in this movie, and Dean Norris is just he's Stella's dad, and Dean Norris is one of my favorite guys, especially his work on Daredevil the Kingpin, which we didn't get a lot of. So if you're looking at the casting, you didn't get a lot of him, because that's the important thing, is because the relationship between him and his daughter, you can see being really brought to life towards the end of this movie, as we know this book. We know by the books that this movie will have a sequel. So, yeah, not a lot of him, which I was a little bit disappointed in, because again, but yeah, you do see a lot of what's, as you can tell, the story's focusing what's going to be next, as a sequel is definitely going to be coming about. But again, the focus of this movie and the story is that you see a group of high school kids as they try to bring truth to Sarah Bellows, a troubled kid, as it's being labeled, who was exiled by their family, who now haunts by the stories that she writes in her books. That is her wrath and revenge to this small town, because of no one believing her, and everyone thinking that she's crazy, and being exiled, and the family abuse, and so forth. So it's her way of retaliation, why these kids are seeking to find the truth of this story, to bring more light to it. And with the main character Stella being a writer, or her supreme passion is writing, she draws to this even more because of the fact of it's storytelling, and she wants to make sure that not only can she find the original source material of this urban myth or legend, that she can also tell the story correctly, and kind of bring peace to this whole situation. But again, I thought this movie was okay. I think if you love the books, you probably should check it out. I think, again, I thought it was kind of slow paced. This movie was like I think like maybe hour and like 40 minutes maybe. I thought the screening was great, because they gave out a lot of cool things, posters, face painting, candy, and everything, really Halloween centric. But if you are a fan of this book, and you grew up being creeped out by this, yeah, check it out. But I also think that this movie probably is something to maybe just it depends. It really depends on your fandom for this book. Again, I thought the movie was okay. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't really love it. I just thought it was just okay. But again, I really do leave that up for you guys' interpretation to go check it out, because I think there was a lot of good things in it as well that you may enjoy. I think the people of the books will enjoy it. And you know, if you got nothing to do this week, you can check it out. But then again, you know, if you're not really big into it, you really may not be into horror, I don't think this is like a must-see, but it is like a possibly check it out. So, yeah. But anyway, thanks for tuning in for my review, and I hope you guys check out my next one, and you're subscribed, and because they're going to keep coming. You know, we're right in the heat of summer, and more stuff is coming out. So, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys for the next review. Peace out.